I have a retained executive search firm, Cardwell Enterprises, that specializes in corporate communications, investor relations, government and public affairs for corporations worldwide. And what I want to do with the time allotted me is to share information on how to prepare, be as well prepared as possible in taking your first job, and even information that you should remember for any job you take subsequently. Wanting to make sure you know how to have an outstanding resume, how to interview, and how to be prepared for your first job, really, or jobs that come later. The things that I think are so important and don't change, even though this is a changing time in terms of social media, etc., the basic of everything in communications is writing. Writing, like location, location, location. And the things that you have to do to be in this field is be a good writer, listen terrifically, be passionate about what you do, have great instincts about what you do, and anticipate your company's and your boss's needs. Your job is to make your boss look good. And do the things that are necessary to make that boss look terrific and the company look terrific. You are the person that's going to be responsible for the image of the department within the corporation, if you are at a corporation, and certainly the job of the image of the company. Not that every person should go into a corporate situation, because I'm a big supporter of young people going into PR agencies. I think it's an area that you learn like crazy. You learn about time periods, how budgeting your time, organizing, writing well, pleasing a client. There's a lot to be done. Not that you don't do that inside a corporation, but this way you get a chance to work for different companies that are clients. So those are the things that you need to be prepared for. And as I say, one of the the complaints I hear from companies are not enough good writers, don't anticipate, aren't willing to work hard to get where they need to be, how to counsel as you get up in the business, how to counsel the senior management is important. Understanding that communications supports business objectives. So you have to think as a communicator, and you have to think as a business person. And you know, there is the old adage, well, I want to get into PR because I like people. Well, my response to that is you can get a job at Macy's. That is not really what it's all about. It's about a variety of things. And there are people that are going to say, oh, okay, do I become a specialist or do I become a generalist? Well, my feeling is that you should make stops along the way so that you experience every kind, whether it's internal or employee communications, which is a hot area right now, whether it's media relations, whether it's speech writing. The technology era is a double-edged sword. It's great opportunities, but it has let go of some of the important elements. Writing is one of them, and for example, speech writing used to be a full-time job for the speechwriter, for the chairman. Now there's so much consolidation. Speechwriters are coming to me and saying, you know, I'm not doing speech writing anymore because the CEO wants PowerPoints. So I'm doing internal communications. So you have to be versatile enough to be able to satisfy your boss, your boss's boss, and also you have to be aware of the fact that you are a representative to other parts and other parts of the company and other departments in a corporation. You may work with human resources. You may work with law. You may work with finance. So, but if you say, hey, I love doing media relations, uh, there's nothing wrong with that. You have to have a passion about what you do. If you don't have a passion about communications and writing, you may be in the wrong field. So those are the elements of how to be prepared. Now, how do you do a good resume? I think that's very important to know. Remember that a resume should be a marketing piece. Here is my formula, and I will tell you, once you do a resume, everybody becomes an expert, and I'm a believer that you take everybody's good ideas. But here's my formula for a good resume. Don't do an objective. That's very old-fashioned. Do what I call a profile. And what it is, it's a statement of what you want to sell. Good writing skills, good presentation skills. If you've won awards, mention awards. If you've gotten a master's, mention a master's. So anything that you want to sell should go into the profile, and probably one paragraph, one short paragraph to showcase what you want to sell. Professional history or professional experience, now you're going to say, I'm only a student, I haven't had, but you may have worked at McDonald's, and there's nothing wrong with that. It shows a sense of responsibility. So put everything down chronologically, most current working back. Then if there are any awards, do an award section. Then do an education section. If you're affiliated with any groups that are relevant, put affiliations down. Now, this may not be as important now, but remember it for the future. One of the things that I suggest to people is an additional page at the end titled Key Accomplishments. And what you want to do with that is bullet a page worth of key accomplishments. However, only those that show results or impact on the organization. Things like created the first with the following results, established the best with the following impact on the organization. And in an interview, these are the talking points. Now, let's talk about interviews. Prepare, prepare, prepare. Even if you have to do a dry run with someone who asks the questions and you answer them and do it reverse. Monday morning, an outstanding speechwriter and book writer who is applying for a position wants me to do a dry run. Now, this is a very well-experienced person, but she wants to be as prepared as possible. Research the company like crazy. Research is important. Whenever you go to an interview, bring your resume. Never assume that they have it. 9 times out of 10, they lose it at the last minute, because I've gotten panic calls from my clients. I can't find a resume. Please send me one. Always come with a resume. Always come with a book of samples, things that you have written. Now, with your writing samples, keep it updated. As you write more things, put the more relevant things in and take out the others. So your writing samples are a work in progress, and your resume is a work in progress. What you need to do is constantly update it, upgrade it, and do a resume the day after you start a new job. Always have a resume ready. I know a number of CEOs who have their resumes always ready to go, so it can't hurt for everybody else to do the same thing. So the other thing you should understand is not everybody who interviews you is a good interviewer, and you almost have to guide that person on how to do an interview. And not so much how to do, but guide them in the direction you want to, if you can, without being obnoxious. So remember to have your resume. Do a good marketing piece. The thing that's interesting is communications people do not do the strongest resumes because they are so accustomed to promoting their boss, their company, their product, they forget to promote themselves. Advertising people do great resumes because they have no problem saying, look how good I am. So if you're going to promote yourself, the resume is the place to do it. Now, after an interview, follow up with a thank you letter, and use this as an opportunity to either mention some of the comments that were made that were important, made by the interviewer, to enforce it. Or if you didn't mention something in the interview, because people come out saying, why didn't I talk about this? You know, this was so important. It's an opportunity to then say, here's what I overlooked telling you. Here's what's important. So always, always follow up with a thank you for your time, and here are some thoughts. Now, you're waiting to hear from the interview, and you're biting your nails. It's a corporation that's in the news. What I think you should do is write to the company, say, you know, in today's newspaper, there was an article that was relevant, that was important to your company. Here are my thoughts about it. So find ways to reconnecting with the company while you're waiting to hear from them. Let us say you are offered the job, yay. You've accepted, yay. But let us say you weren't offered the job. Use it as an opportunity to follow up and say, you know, I understand you have chosen someone else, but please let's stay in touch. If it doesn't work out, or if there are other opportunities that are at your company, I'd be delighted to know about them. So follow up, follow up, follow up. Anticipate every trend that you can think of. The other thing that I think is very important for communications people, and they sometimes do not follow this rule: listen, listen, listen. Especially in the interview, listen very carefully and read between the lines. When I answer my phone at the office, I always say, this is Jean Cardwell. There are a couple of people who respond, is she there? So listening is extremely, extremely important. And people in an interview, candidates in an interview, sometimes do not listen. So make sure you do, make sure you follow up. And have a passion for what you do, and work as hard as you can. When you're at a company, try to identify a mentor. It may or may not be in the department you are working in. Somebody who is willing to take you sort of under their wing, and the thing that they will expect in return is you do a great job. So, and as you grow in the business, not only find a mentor, but be a mentor to young people. It is extremely valuable and helpful to not only to you, but to the people that you come in contact with. So mentoring is extremely important, and building relationships are extremely important. And building relationships, as I may have mentioned, in other departments, law, finance, engineering, human resources. Do not underestimate the value and the power of human resources. And so building relationships and friendships in that department can be very valuable.